One conversation changed the way many people looked at Robin Williams forever. Years after his heartbreaking death, Sally Field finally shared a deeply personal story that revealed a side of him the public rarely got to see. It wasn't about fame or comedy. It was about kindness. Quiet, thoughtful kindness. The kind that happens when no cameras are rolling. But why did she wait so long to tell that story? And what made that moment impossible to forget? To millions of people, Sally Field was the smiling girl next door. She seemed warm, cheerful, and effortlessly successful. Yet behind that familiar smile was a childhood marked by pain that almost nobody knew about. Long before the awards and standing ovations, she was simply a little girl trying to find somewhere she felt safe. That search would shape every part of her life. But the darkest chapter was still hidden from the world. Sally Margaret Field was born on November 6, 1946, in Pasadena, California. Her father served in the army, and her mother was an actress. She grew up close to her younger brother Rick, who would later become a respected particle physicist. During those early years, one place gave her comfort above everything else. Her grandmother's home in nearby Altadena became a refuge where she was surrounded by family members who offered love, stability, and protection. Looking back, those moments became the foundation that helped her survive everything else life would bring. When Sally was only 4, her mother married stuntman and actor Jock Mahoney. He was charming, funny, and admired by almost everyone around him. People found it easy to trust him. But behind that public image was a painful secret. Decades later, in her memoir, Sally revealed that she had suffered years of abuse before it finally ended when she was around 14. It was a truth she carried in silence for most of her life. And that hidden pain would influence many of the choices she made as an adult. But how do you build confidence when your earliest years were filled with fear? At 18, Sally suddenly became famous after landing the lead role in Gidget. Overnight, she became known as America's cheerful surfer girl. The bright smile audiences loved wasn't completely fake, but it also became a shield. Growing up, she had learned that showing sadness or anger was discouraged. She discovered that making people laugh was often safer than letting them see her pain. Fame made life even stranger. Every trip outside became different. People either recognized her instantly or didn't know her at all. Finding genuine friendships became much harder than she ever expected. She later starred in The Flying Nun, a role she accepted after being warned that turning it down could end her career before it truly began. Although the show was popular, Sally felt trapped. She wanted to become a serious actress, but audiences only saw the cheerful television star. Around the same time, she entered an early marriage while still very young. It was a period filled with uncertainty, and she often questioned whether she was moving through life or simply reacting to it. Then one unexpected invitation changed everything. Could a single conversation really transform an entire career? An actress working alongside her recognized the talent hiding beneath Sally's frustration and encouraged her to visit the famous actor's studio. There she studied under legendary acting teacher Lee Strasberg. Those classes opened a completely new world. Instead of pretending to be someone else, she learned how to understand real emotions and bring them to the screen. It wasn't glamorous. It required years of hard work, rejection, and constant practice. Yet slowly, she began building the skills that would eventually silence every critic who had underestimated her. During this period, Sally became the mother of 2 sons, Peter and Eli. Balancing family life with an acting career was exhausting, especially while struggling against Hollywood's habit of typecasting. Casting directors often refused to even let her audition because they still saw the smiling television actress from years earlier. Instead of giving up, she kept training. Day after day, she worked to prove that she was capable of far more than anyone believed. It was a lonely road. But persistence has a way of opening unexpected doors. The next opportunity arrived from someone many people wouldn't expect. Fellow actor Jack Nicholson spoke highly of Sally to casting director Diane Crittenden. That recommendation led to an audition for Stay Hungry, starring Jeff Bridges and a young Arnold Schwarzenegger. The role itself was small, but its impact was enormous. It proved she could compete as a dramatic actress. Years of quiet determination were finally paying off. Yet an even bigger turning point was just around the corner. This one would affect both her career and her personal life. Not long afterward, Burt Reynolds invited Sally to work on Smokey and the Bandit. Their chemistry was immediate, both on screen and off. They began a relationship that lasted several years. At first, it seemed exciting and full of fun. But over time, familiar patterns began to appear. Reynolds could be loving, but he also wanted significant influence over her career choices. Sally later realized that the relationship reflected many of the emotional patterns she had experienced growing up. It felt strangely familiar. Comfort and control had become tangled together. But eventually, one argument changed everything. When Sally was offered the role in Norma Rae, Reynolds strongly opposed it. During one heated disagreement, he threw the script across the room in anger. That single moment became a wake-up call. Instead of walking away from the opportunity, Sally accepted the role. It became one of the defining performances of her career. Playing a determined factory worker fighting for dignity gave Sally the strength to recognize her own. Sometimes the character an actor plays changes the person behind the performance. For Sally, that was exactly what happened. Norma Rae earned her first Academy Award in 1980. After years of rejection, the recognition felt almost unreal. She later admitted she remembered very little about the acceptance speech because she was overwhelmed with shock. 5 years later, she won a second Oscar for Places in the Heart. This time she was able to appreciate the moment more fully. Although one line from her speech was misunderstood by some viewers, it wasn't arrogance. It was relief. Relief that years of struggle had finally been recognized. But the role that would become one of her happiest memories still hadn't arrived. In 1993, Sally joined Robin Williams for Mrs. Doubtfire. The film quickly became one of the most beloved family comedies ever made. Working with Robin was unlike anything she had experienced before. His imagination seemed endless. Every scene brought new jokes, fresh ideas, and unexpected improvisations. Sometimes one scene required countless takes because Robin kept inventing something funnier. The crew laughed constantly. Filming felt joyful. But during production, something happened that changed everything behind the scenes. And almost nobody knew about it. While making the film, Sally received devastating news. Her father, who had already suffered a stroke and was living in a nursing home, experienced another massive stroke. The family made the heartbreaking decision not to continue life support. Only hours later, Sally found herself back on set filming emotional scenes about children separated from their father after a painful divorce. The similarities to her own life were overwhelming. She tried to stay composed. She carried on because that was what professionals were expected to do. But Robin noticed something wasn't right almost immediately. Between takes, Robin quietly approached her and gently asked if she was okay. That simple question broke through every wall she had built around herself. Sally finally told him that her father had just died. She explained that she had already agreed to let him go. Robin listened. He didn't make a speech. He didn't try to fix the pain. Instead, he did something far more meaningful. He quietly stopped production for the day. Robin told the crew they were finished. Everyone was sent home except for a small group needed to complete a few simple shots involving the children. He protected Sally's privacy and gave her the space she desperately needed to grieve. There was no announcement. No attention. No attempt to make himself the center of the story. It was simply an act of compassion. But what Sally later revealed made that kindness even more remarkable. For decades, she kept the full story private. Then, while contributing to an oral history published by Vanity Fair, she shared another detail that nobody outside the production had known. Robin hadn't only ended filming that day. He quietly adjusted the entire shooting schedule throughout the following week so Sally could deal with her loss without additional pressure. He never told the crew why. He never looked for praise. He simply made life easier for someone who was hurting. When Robin Williams died in 2014 at the age of 63, Sally was devastated. She described herself as stunned and deeply saddened, saying there would never be another performer quite like him. Yet the grief didn't disappear with time. Nearly 10 years later, while attending the 2023 Screen Actors Guild Awards, she spoke warmly about their friendship once again. She wished he could still be growing older alongside the rest of their generation. It was a simple sentence, but one filled with enormous sadness. Only in 2024 did the complete story of Robin's quiet generosity become widely known. Fans who already admired him for his incredible talents suddenly discovered another reason to respect him. The world's funniest man had also been one of its kindest. The moment reminded people that the greatest acts often happen when nobody is watching. Sally's life continued to be filled with meaningful work. She remembered the set of Steel Magnolias as one of the happiest experiences of her career, surrounded by close friendships with stars like Dolly Parton, Shirley MacLaine, and Julia Roberts. During that same period, her third son, Sam, entered the world. Years later, her personal experiences as the mother of a gay son helped shape storylines in the television series Brothers and Sisters, bringing honesty and authenticity to the screen. Her 3 sons all found careers in storytelling. Peter became a successful writer and showrunner. Eli built a career directing television. Sam worked as a writer across several creative projects. Sally also discovered that becoming a grandparent wasn't an instant magical feeling. Like every meaningful relationship in her life, she believed love required time, effort, and continued commitment. It wasn't automatic. It grew stronger through everyday actions. Even after more than 60 years in the entertainment industry, Sally never stopped looking forward. She remained passionate about acting, embraced new projects, and became involved in bringing remarkably bright creatures to the screen. Looking back, she never tried to present her life as a perfect success story. Instead, she accepted every painful chapter, every mistake, and every victory as part of the same journey. From a frightened child searching for safety to a 2-time Academy Award winner, Sally Field's story is one of resilience, quiet courage, and constant reinvention. And hidden within that remarkable life is one unforgettable reminder of who Robin Williams truly was. Behind the endless jokes and unforgettable characters stood a man who noticed when someone was hurting, stepped in without seeking attention, and offered kindness when it mattered most. Sometimes the greatest legacy isn't built by the moments the whole world sees. Sometimes it's created by a single act of compassion shared between 2 friends when nobody else is looking.